Thanks.
Okay, I'm going to call this regular city commission meeting to order on March 17th at 7 p.m. Like everyone, please rise for Father Slayton. He's going to lead us in prayer. Immediately afterwards, we're going to say the Pledge of Allegiance.
Good and gracious Lord, you tell us in the words of the psalm that if the Lord does not build the house, in vain in fact do the builders labor. And if the Lord does not watch over the city, in vain then does the watchman keep vigil. As both the watchmen and the builders, O Lord, we ask then your blessing upon us. We ask that your peace would be with us, that your wisdom would guide us, and that your love would always burn in our hearts, as we truly seek the good for all, and keep this in mind as we pursue the commonwealth. And we ask this through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Scarlett.
Here.
Commissioner Avery. Present. Commissioner Hendricks. Here. Commissioner Lovett.
Here.
Commissioner Melly.
Here.
Commissioner Simpson.
Here.
Commissioner Turner.
Here.
City Manager Lovett. Here.
We don't have any communications today, so we're moving right on to public comment. You're welcome to come to the podium, address the commission. Please state your name and address and keep your comments to under 5 minutes.
My name is Kyle Pond. I'm 16. I live at 763 Hydrangea Street. I'm attending Riverview East High School. I live in Marine City. I grew up not really having anything besides swimming at the beach, playing volleyball, and hanging out at the Edison with my friends. Going to movies and going out to eat became redundant for me. I realized that teenagers who have very little bit to do and still have money in their pockets often turn to drugs or alcohol. This is not just a big city problem. Unfortunately, in my town, many young people succumb to peer pressure and turn to these routes in order to fit in. Me personally, I began getting in trouble and in and out of school. This ended up with me being placed on probation. This is normally would be a devastating time in my life, but I found my calling through Pat Keck's Genius Hour. Pat is my English teacher at Riverview, and I decided my calling was creating a safe and fun environment for teens to go to keep themselves out of danger and trouble. Through the help with Pat and another teacher, Jason Steyer from Riverview, we grew up a committee to start a community center, including David Simpson and Diane Lovett. They have all been a huge support for my newfound passion, and I'm really excited for this to move forward. For the past few months, I really found out how much of a difference we can make in the community if we actually put forth the effort, and I'm excited to see it develop further. The question I have tonight is the money that is fundraised through our program, if we could get a reserved place for it to be held in a rec center budget thing type deal.
Well, we couldn't possibly answer your question like that right now. We'd have to put something like that on the agenda.
Okay.
But you're just looking for somewhere, you're raising money and you want a place to put it and make sure it goes to a community center.
Yes.
Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes.
Well, when you've got more particulars, we'll get you on the agenda and we can talk about it in detail.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Excellent. Anyone else?
Michael Frank, 217th Street. I'm gonna need extra 30 seconds. Your guys' patience is appreciated. Some of you may have noticed I chose to remain seated during the Pledge of Allegiance. Please know that my intention is not to offend anyone and that I respect everyone in this room and I love my country dearly. However, with the events going on in America today, I cannot utter the words "with liberty and justice for all" when it is blatantly apparent that in today's state of affairs, that statement is a direct contradiction to reality. It is flat out hypocritical to recite these words only for the sake of tradition, or that it is just the way things have always been done. This school of thought seems to be disturbingly common throughout our government. In his decision regarding the requirement to pledge allegiance in public schools, Justice Jackson of the Supreme Court very eloquently wrote this passage in West Virginia State Board of Education versus Barnett, 1943. To believe that patriotism will not flourish if patriotic ceremonies are voluntary and spontaneous instead of a compulsory routine is to make an unflattering estimate of the appeal of our institutions to free minds. Through this statement and the rest of his decision, Justice Jackson was sure to point out that although the American flag deserves great respect, the American Constitution deserves an even greater respect. As I watched all of you stand in front of me paying your respects hand over heart to a piece of cloth that has a 94% chance of being made in China, according to the U.S. Census Bureau, I can't help but wish that I, as a citizen and voter of Marine City, felt I was given a fraction of that respect, because I stand before you now feeling entirely disrespected by the people I trusted to listen to me, to hear my vote, and carry out policies and decisions in respect of such. In November of 2013, Marine City citizens said no to more funding for our police department. Then only about 18 months later, you, the commission, went rogue against its own citizens and used an obscure corner of Michigan's law that's purpose is that of last resort to overrule the very people whose views you are trusted to uphold. On March 8th, the citizens of Marine City again asserted its views about the lack of need or want for additional police protection in the city. And in case you didn't hear us this time around, I'm here to say to you directly what 6 out of 10 people in Marine City, the majority, would like you to hear. The answer to our money woes is not to raise taxes. The answer is to use the money we have more wisely. And by the state of the vacant and moldy building at 300 Broadway, it was not a wise use of the taxpayers' money to restore City Hall. This is just one example of the waste that many in the city feel is widespread. And perhaps if we hadn't been so wasteful, we wouldn't be in the predicament we are now. If Marine City ever plans to actually grow and not just get by, then we need to stop raising property taxes so people actually want to move in instead of move out. We need to focus on keeping people here, and nobody wants to be in a place in which they feel like their voice is not being heard, or worse, their voice is ignored. There are constant stories of people standing at this very podium attesting to the desire to get out of Marine City. Many of those reasons are rooted in Marine City's past of poor leadership. I am one of these people. I am unsure if I want to stay in Marine City. Before I'm attacked, from which I see on YouTube is a very awkward and immature norm in these meetings, I will nip the attack in the butt. I do not have the option of leaving Marine City, as I do not own my house. No, I do not pay Marine City taxes directly. I'm a renter, but Marine City has been and always will be considered my home. My family has been an integral part of this community for over 50 years. Some of you in this room may recognize my last name, Hillfrank, as somebody you may have had as a teacher in school. Both my grandfather and grandmother were Marine City school teachers and retired as such. I'm a single father with an 8-year-old daughter whose mother also resides in Marine City, and my daughter attends Bell River Elementary and is flourishing in her studies. However, even with such deep roots here, I am still on the fence of whether or not I want to enter into a land contract in the house I've lived in for 4 years now and stay in the place I've called home for 21 years, Marine City. One of the biggest reservations I have about purchasing a home here is the overall poor management the city has demonstrated in the past and the effect that may have on my daughter in the future. In a recent commission meeting, the mayor brought up the problem of heroin and pain pill addiction in the city. I can attest to that being an absolutely true problem, as it seems I know somebody who knew somebody who has died from an opiate overdose at least once every couple months. I have childhood friends whom I have known since I was 8 years old that I have had to cut ties with due to dishonesty stemming from addiction. The mayor had used this epidemic as another selling point for PA 33, even though it has been shown time and time again that police and the justice system do not work in the war against drugs. Marine City doesn't need more police for this problem. The police we have now are doing an amazing job with the current level of funding and tools that they have at their disposal, and will continue to have my support, especially the MCPD veterans. But drug enforcement is maybe best left to the St. Clair County Drug Task Force, because our priority should be to invest in programs and infrastructure to keep our kids off the streets, keep them occupied. I am sure most of you are familiar with the proverb, idle hands are the devil's playground, and for kids in Marine City, there is plenty of room for the devil to play. There just isn't enough for young people to do in Marine City, and this hasn't changed one bit since I was a teen almost 20 years ago. I can remember driving countless laps around town for countless hours looking for marijuana simply because there was nothing else better to do. Thankfully, back then it was only marijuana that we were looking for, a drug that nobody has ever died from. Today, our children are looking for heroin. More people die from opiate overdoses than in car accidents or gun violence, and drug overdoses are the leading cause of injury death in America. But rather than the city invest in its youth, the city felt it was more important to invest in its elderly, the 133-year-old at 300 Broadway. Can you imagine the possibilities if those hundreds of thousands of dollars had went towards our children and our future instead of our past? I can, but I'm starting to think that some of the people in this room are too occupied fighting amongst each other to realize where the priorities need to be. The American flag deserves great respect, and the people of Marine City deserve that same respect from its council. I hope you take that more to the heart you cover next time you stand to pledge allegiance. Thank you.
Do you have anyone else?
I'm Laura Scotcher, one of the owners of the Mariner Theater, and this is Erica DeLange, who is our new executive director for the Chamber of Commerce. And we are here to talk to you about an initiative, fundraiser, that we've put together. She was supposed to talk, but you know.
She's spearheading this, so.
Okay. So we've come up with a way to raise funds in order to get an attendant at the beach, which we know is something of great importance for our city. And we could use your help, and those three boys back there could really use your help. All right? So we've put together a fundraiser. It's called a fundraiser, which will launch May 1st. And we would like to include all the organizations, the community, citizens, and we're going to be working all together to raise funds. We're also working on something that we may be able to get matching funds through an organization that we just learned a little bit about. May 1st, we're going to kick it off by delivering, we have made these cute little buckets that all the organizations, business and stuff will have in their establishments, and we're asking for $1 per person. If you get $1 per each citizen, that's a lot of money, okay? We can put that towards, organizations will be giving money. We've already had some donations from some very generous people. That in conjunction with the fundraiser that we're going to be launching on May 21st, we would like to raise enough money so that we can have attendance this year and hopefully have an abundance of money that we can actually spread into next year as well. Go ahead, you want to add?
No, you covered everything.
Are you
That was
sure?
wonderful.
So I hope you all support us. We're excited.
Yes.
We're going to be forming a committee, and if anybody would like to be on the committee, we welcome you. We've have citizens from Marine City who will be helping us as well, but like I always say, it takes a village.
Thank you.
Have anyone else? All right.
May I, on the voter, say something, please?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
We stand up to pay allegiance to the country that we live in because we love this country and respect it. There's many of us in this room who have spent time defending this country. I don't feel that it should be noted that we're doing it because it's required. We're doing it because we love the country. And we've been around long enough to see the difference of what's this country versus other countries and other forms. Thank you.
Before I move on, is there anyone else who'd like to come to the podium? Okay. We're moving on to the approval of the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
Motion support, any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Agenda's been approved. Item 7A, which is the approval of the City Commission regular meeting for March 3rd.
Make-
To approve the City Commission regular meeting minutes from March 3rd, 2016, as presented.
Support?
The motion support, any discussion on those minutes?
I just found what I think is a typo, and just where it says presence, it says Elizabeth Hendrick.
That's my legal
Is it
name.
legal name? And all the other ones I found listed as
Lisa.
Lisa. Okay, I just didn't know if there was a
I don't
change.
normally use it.
Okay.
It's been out there a long time. Did you
Has
have
it?
to change, Lisa?
No, it's fine.
Okay.
The other ones I look back, I'm like, oh, I didn't notice that before, so I just want to make sure that,
The legal name, yeah.
because I know Elizabeth is also with us sometimes too, so I didn't know if it was that, so I just,
Everybody just calls me Lisa. now.
okay. I just want to make sure, just,
It's like that, it's my legal name, but I don't.
Yeah.
Anyone else? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Minutes have been approved. Moving on to item 7B, which is closed session
Make a motion,
minutes of March 3rd.
make a motion to approve the closed session minutes of March 3rd, 2016.
Support. The motion support. Any discussion? Guess not. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Moving on to the consent agenda, we have item 8A, which is departmental activity reports, item 8B, which is Marine City Fire Authority Run Report, item 8C, which is special event for International River Crossing with the Girl Scouts, item 8D, which is business license for Blue Mitt LLC.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda and place on file.
Motion support. Any discussion on the consent agenda? Commissioner Levitt?
Yes, just once again, like to bring attention to the Public Works, Department of Public Works report. Again, we're looking at 113 hours spent completing repairs and routine. Majority of the repairs, major repairs, break down to the 1994 Camel Sewer Cleaner, the 2005 JCB, the 2000 Sterling's, the 1999 GMC Suburban. Just noting that we have a very aging machinery, and again, 3 weeks of work are put into maintaining equipment.
Thank you. Commissioner Simpson?
I just want to recognize that we approved yet another new business license, and I went back to the last handful of packets, and it seems like, at least every meeting there's one, sometimes two, so it's just, it's exciting time. It's great that a lot of new business ventures are being offered in the city, and that's, I hope it's a compliment on what we're doing as a city, but certainly the change of economic times, but it's great to see yet another new business opens up, and I wish them well.
Anyone else? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? That agenda has been approved. We have no unfinished business, so moving on to item 10A, which is board appointment for the Election Commission. We need one representative from the commission to be on that board. Do we have any volunteers? You'd like to do it again? Anyone else?
I wasn't worn out after the last one.
Takes about 5 minutes.
Okay. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? There you are on the Election Committee.
I was the second on that, second.
Do we need to vote again? No, it's all set. He's on the Election Commission. And then we've got the water monitoring contract extension as item 10B.
This contract is a 3-year extension for the water quality monitoring equipment. For the last 9 years, we've been working with ECT to take care of this equipment. This contract, as I mentioned, is a three-year extension, and there is a option 30-day out should we choose to do something else in the future. The primary contract amount is $16,200, and then there is also a provision in here for some additional repairs that may be necessary. That is an additional $11,800. The complete terms of the contract is not to exceed $28,000 without additional authorization.
Anybody got any questions? Commissioner Simpson?
Are there a lot of companies that do this kind of work? I mean, normally it'd be competitive bid. I know these types of things are a bit unique. You like to stay with the people that have a lot of experience in our system and that, but I just was curious. I couldn't find any other, previous minutes that had indicated the last time the contract was approved and then the dollar amount. Can you speak to that? Has it been competitively bid in the last 10 years? How did other companies come in? Are there just not that many people that do it?
I would assume probably the last time it was bid, or maybe even this was the first time, was 9 years ago when we went with ECT. It is a pretty minimal thing. It's just they come in, I think every other month, check the equipment, make sure everything's calibrated. There are reports that have to go to the state. There is a internet connection. They get reporting information and review that and make sure that everything is within the confines
I
of
guess
law.
I'm just talking about the dollar amount. Usually we would seek competitive bidding for that total contract dollar amount. So that's what I was kind of looking for.
I can speak that. Commissioner Simpson, because it's a professional service, it's exempted from competitive bidding by charter, Section 13.1. And my guess is that it may never have been competitively bid, even back 9 years ago when the original contract was signed.
Well, is this part of the water monitoring system that's up and down the river at one time, or is this always just our in-house monitoring? This is just our in-house
In-house,
monitoring?
yeah.
Commissioner Lovett?
I just question, how is this amount comparable to what it was 3 years ago? The 3-year contract, is it the same?
Mike,
Has
do
it
you have a
gone
chance
up?
now?
Thank
It's all
you.
the same. We average $6,000 a year to maintain the probes in there. Every other month we get billed. And this year, we took, try to get every other month, the 30-day jump out. We try to go on our own. We're one of the last two on the St. Clair River that has this. Everybody else bailed out. There's no protection between Marysville and here for us.
So this is part of that?
Yes.
This isn't our in-house stuff?
No, this is all part of the water monitoring.
Okay.
So if we get hit, we alert people downriver, and Marysville gets hit, they alert us.
The discretionary repairs that they have in there, that dollar amount, is that over a 3-year period that they're limited to, that 11,800?
Yes.
Because it's kind of was fuzzy. So the total contract is
Not to exceed 28,000 over the 3-year period.
without authorization?
Correct. And the thing is the 11,800, if there are no repairs, that wouldn't even be a charge that we'd incur. The only charge that we would definitely incur is 16,200 over the 3-year term.
But they don't need authorization to make those repairs, right?
No, every other month, they come in and they calibrate the probes. And that's part of this procedure right here. And what they call it's a 15-minute real time. They test the water every 15 minutes for the pH. And what happens, it goes back to them. If it's a hit, the pH drops down, it alerts us. We do another pH sample in-house to make sure that it ain't their probe. It's something that actually entered our system, and we shut down our plant and go from there.
This probe is actually out in the river?
No, this probe is on our raw water intake that we're sucking out from the river.
Okay.
It's in the waterworks plant.
But this isn't actually required for our operation. This is.
No, it's not.
This was part of that earlier alert, the warning system
Exactly.
that everybody else is pretty much bailed out of.
Well, everybody bailed out, but heard tell that people are starting to jump back into it now.
Yeah, there was.
Because we can't depend on what happens on the other side of the river. By the time they notify us it's been a spill, it's 6 hours later, and it's just a safeguard.
And we have this under a special fee on the water.
Yeah, it was $1.75, I think,
Yeah.
something like
Yes,
so
that.
we have it
It's
covered.
all paid for through the water monitoring fund.
Well, there was one other item on here that I wasn't happy with on this contract, and that was their insurance clause, which is on, what page it is, page 36. Did you look at this contract, Mr. Downing?
I did, Your Honor.
Okay, when I have a contract that I have to sign for a customer, they usually dictate the insurance limits to me. And it seems a little backwards to have a company telling us what they're gonna do with insurance, and basically saying that they'll do what is affordable, I think was their wording on it. I'm not really happy with that, the way they got that on here. And then they also limiting their liability, total liability, to the extent of the price of the contract, which I think is a little unusual. Because if, if somebody, one of their people get hurt on the job and there's a workman's comp claim, it's gonna exceed probably the $28,000 easily. I don't know. I'm not a attorney, I just involved in a lot of contracts and like, pretty typical out there anymore is that most people want at least $2 million worth of workman's comp and general liability aggregate.
And that is not yet, that is not spelled out, Your Honor. Article 8 may be the first provision you're referencing, that they say they're going to essentially maintain coverage at a market rate or what similar companies would. It's certainly not beyond the pale for the commission to ask them to spell that out. And, it's certainly the commission's privilege not to approve it tonight, and we can flesh that out. And Article 9, the indemnification clause, I think is the second point you raise in subparagraph 3, that their liability would be no more than the total cost of the agreement. And likewise, that's something that could be the subject of further negotiation if the commission wishes.
Well, I'm not happy with either one of those, so I would be voting against this tonight or suggest we table it. Commissioner Avery?
I'd like to make a motion that we send this back to have these items clarified, and it can be brought up at a later date.
Support.
Motion support. Any other discussion on that?
Elaine, are we in any jeopardy of, timeliness on this? Do you foresee that as being an issue?
They're just operating under the old contract terms right now.
I think there are great points to be brought up. Just to rent my building for a couple days, the general liability policy is $1 million, that's pretty standard for any venue that you rent, and when you start to throw in things like workman's comp and all that on top of it, it's,
Right. I think it's leaving this a little open.
especially when you're talking an industrial plant that has slip hazards and those types of things, and yeah.
Typically, a lot of my business contracts I'm getting into, they want me to have $5 million worth of insurance, with a $4 million umbrella with $1 million in basic coverage, that's thousands of dollars extra every year. So I'm fighting that usually when I see it. But all right, all in favor, say aye.
Wait. In view of what's been happening with Flint, with the water crisis, is there any kind of, because we are wanting our community up to speed and having any precaution in case if there's any problem with our water, nip something in the bud, with their going contract with Flint, they're throwing money from the state. Is there any way, if there's any reimbursement, because we're going to extra effort with our water, would the state toss in any money towards us because we're up and up? Is there any way we can check that out? In other words, if they're willing to cover, you said there's only 2 cities, us and Marysville?
Yes.
That's a shame, go ahead, Mike.
You can either stay in or opt out. St. Clair opt out, Algonquin's still in. As far as getting money back from the state for anything like that, no. You ain't gonna see nothing from the state. The only thing you're gonna see is unfunded mandated stuff that we're gonna have to do here in the next 2 years. And
Isn't that why people were opting out, is because there is no additional monies to fund what some people would see extras as this?
Well, there's some buzz in the news lately, and there's a bigger push to get, because the entire southeastern Michigan basically depends on this water source. There's a push, I think, to get some funding for this stuff, but I don't know.
I think
it ain't gonna happen.
It's not gonna happen.
I think regardless, it's the responsible thing to do. We've been keeping in here, it's offset by, fees that we charge. I think it's, especially in light of what's happening in Flint, but even before that, it's, when we're running our own plant, it's definitely the responsible thing to do.
Well, I think when I did the math on it, it comes to about a little over $9,000 per year, right? Something like that, 93. But, so I think all the cities downriver should pay us to monitor the water for them.
Good luck. Good luck.
So the motion, what was the motion again? To just table this until?
Get more information.
Yeah.
Well, I wonder if the motion should include what we expect as far as insurance coverage.
I think that's what it did. That's what
I asked to
To send it back for
clarify these
clarification.
issues that we had brought up.
Well, it's
you
not
know
really
the direct-
clarification I was looking for. I'm looking for the actual insurance requirements to be spelled out.
Well, okay,
Semantics.
yes, that's what I meant, because we were discussing the insurance liability claims and.
Well, there's two things in there. It was
The insurance and the total liability,
Yes.
they have it limited currently to the value of the contract. Certainly, that would potentially not even be a full one claim, let alone.
Right. All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Well, that's going back to the drawing board. Moving on to item 11A, which is disbursements including payroll.
Make a motion to approve disbursements, including payroll of $184,796.91.
Support.
Motion and support. Is there any questions on the disbursements? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Avery,
Yes.
Commissioner Hendrick,
Yes.
Commissioner Lovett,
Yes.
Commissioner Melly,
Yes.
Commissioner Simpson,
Yes.
Commissioner Turner,
Yes.
Mayor Skatardik.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Moving on to item 11B, which is preliminary financial reports.
Make a motion to approve the preliminary financial reports.
Support.
Motion and support. Is there any discussion? I did have one question as I was going through the reports. I noticed that we're already at 100% or exceeded 100% on the fire portion of the budget. Is that,
Because of the contract?
yeah, is that typical or is that unusual? We got a few more months to go.
Yeah.
Do we have a lot of extra fire runs
I
this year?
don't believe that we pay them on a monthly basis. I think it's a contractual, maybe you know, Lisa?
I don't know if it's twice a year or quarterly.
That's what I'm
or
thinking
something
is
like
twice
that.
a
Yeah,
year.
it's not-
So probably the two payments
So you go
for
to
the
the
year
100%
remaining.
real quick as soon as you make your second payment, right?
Right.
All right. That's all I had. Anyone else? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? All right, motion carries. City manager report.
I have been still working on compiling contracts. It seems the more I get and start putting my list together, the more contracts we unbury. So hopefully I'll have something for you at the next meeting. I think I'm just gonna cut it off at this point probably and prepare a report for you based upon what I've come up with so far. I spoke with Terry and Diane. We're planning on meeting Monday for reviewing the sidewalk ordinance. We had a couple questions about some situations that happened at the election, and I spent the better part of the day taking a look at that and contacting some people regarding some things that went on at the election. Yesterday, we did have a employee from the state election division come out and take a look at our polling location. We also had her take a look at the access to the Guy Center as well, because people do come there and drop off absentee ballots. So we just wanted to have her take a look at it and see how well it meets their requirements for accessibility. Both of the doors at both locations checked out fine. Everything looked good there. Also the accessibility getting into the Guy Center with the elevator seats. One thing that she did point out is that it's not required, but it would be helpful to have an ADA parking spot closer to the Guy Center building. So that's something that we're going to look into when we get the report back from her. She also did mention out here, we do have the signage for one ADA spot, and we talked about how there's removable signage for the other handicap spots. So that's something that we're going to make sure we have on a checklist for elections, so that gets out. Mike has been working with the county on fixing the sirens. So there were some issues, especially with communication between the towers and the county. They weren't getting signals that the sirens weren't going off in the city. So hopefully that will be corrected and fixed in time for April and severe weather month, I believe it is. Let's see, the April meeting, along with the contracts, will also have CDBG public hearing closeout for the facade program. This is a requirement that we actually have a public hearing to, I guess, get public comment based upon how the program went. I'll also have a contract for the county for the master plan, they presented to Planning Commission for $2,500. It's a visioning session and stakeholder survey, so that'll be coming to you for approval at the next meeting. And another thing we found out with the fence ordinance, we looked at what it would cost to advertise the fence ordinance in full, and the price was pretty extravagant, so I had asked Chris to look into doing a summary. She got a hold of Jim, and one of the provisions in our charter for doing a summary publication is that it come before commission for approval. So we'll have that at the next meeting for you. I also wanted to let you know, one of the new businesses, the owner of the Blue Mitt just wanted to thank Chris and the staff for helpful and courteous service. So I just wanted to pass that on to you guys to let you know. That's it.
Want to start the Commissioner privilege?
Sure. First of all, thank you to the three young men who came in this evening and spoke to you from the Riverview East High School. They're a remarkable group of young men, and I've been thrilled to be able to work with them as they looked at a need in this community for something the teens to do, and they're taking the initiative to do that. They have been writing plans, et cetera, along with Commissioner Simpson and Laura Scotcha. Mr. Coase have also been helping with that, Lynn Zarowski. So it's exciting to see them take that initiative. So we're looking forward to things happening there. Another forward movement for our city was presented on Tuesday at the Washington Life Center, and I had mentioned it at the last meeting. It was put on by the Dementia Alzheimer Resource Committee of St. Clair County. The intent of that meeting was to see what kind of a need we had here in this area, including Algonac, St. Clair, Ira, the whole surrounding area at the Washington Life Center. And there certainly is a need for our aging population with dementia and Alzheimer's. Quite a number of people showed up, 75 to 100 people were there. They were very impressed with that. So I think we're going to be able to see some services from both the Visiting Nurse Association and Star Path, which both work up in Port Huron. We'll also be having representatives here. They also mentioned the availability of busing even now to the Port Huron offices, but also would have that busing available for activities here in our own Washington Life Center. So I think that's a great a benefit to our community. And okay, I think that is all that I have to say. Thank you very much.
Mr. Hedrick.
Just want to wish everybody a happy Easter coming up. Have a safe holiday. And also the wind system you can still sign up for. It's like a countywide emergency system, and I when there's weather alerts or any type of emergency, you can set it up and you can get that sent right to your phone or your computer so that you can stay in touch, especially with the weather events. Just the other day, I'm signed up for the weather, and so I got an alert for the severe storms. So it's a good, another extra good tool if you're not near your house or a radio or something to find out that we have some type of emergency going on. And it's free to sign up. You just gotta put in what you want, and you'll get notified. That's it for me.
I had a friend call and ask how our election went last week, and I told him briefly. And as an aid to console me on the loss of the PA 33 that he knew I had supported, he sent me a picture. Now, I'll have to describe that for everybody. It's a picture looking into a very dark tunnel. And there's a hand holding a sign that says, "Due to recent budget cuts, the light at the end of the tunnel has been turned off." We had, I think, a pretty dismal turnout for something as important as this, but that's the way it worked, and so we have that. So we will live with the budget that the amount that we will have to use for our budget. As sort of along the same line. About every 6 weeks, when the trash is picked up, my recycle container is left. And last week was one of those weeks again, and I'm thinking, why do we need to have a second set of garbage trucks burning fuel, running around the city to pick up something that probably just gets thrown in the normal trash anyway? But I will cease worrying about this. It gets to be annoying. And I don't know what cost advantage there is supposed to be accrued by having separate containers, but the service has been disappointing. And with that, thank you.
I want to echo Commissioner Levitt's thanks to the students from Riverview East High School, Kyle, Charlie, and Isaac. I've had the occasion to meet with them a handful of times now. They contacted us about the possibility of sharing something they're very passionate about, and if it didn't come across today, it's something that those guys are very passionate about. What you don't know is that they've done a lot of legwork on this. Not only have they proactively contacted a lot of people, they've surveyed their peers. At 2 meetings ago, they showed us over 200 surveys to find out what students are looking for to get out of this program. They're very open-minded. I just can't say enough good things about them. They, for being on sort of an uncharted territory, they're doing quite good, and I wish them well, and hope that we can support them in their endeavors. It looks like they have a lot of good things lined up for it. They have some funding options and a good way to launch the program, and a temporary home potentially, and a long-term vision with it too. So it looks like they have a lot of great things lined up there. Previous meetings, we've talked about the beach parking and the police department town hall, and I haven't seen those appear on and maybe it's not a police department town hall, but a way for citizens to go and chat with the police in maybe less formal setting than a commission meeting, but more of an open session. And I haven't seen a date set for the PD. I know when the acting police chief was here last time, he said he would look into it. I know a lot of people have been waiting for it, but also the beach parking. I've said this at a handful of meetings now. We're now getting into nice weather, and I know concrete and work and vendors take a lot of time to line up, and so I just it's something that we've been discussed doing since last fall, and I'd like to see us address that at sometime soon, just so we can arm our people with what they need to get their jobs done as well. So I won't belabor anything about the election, but one of the things someone spoke of tonight is 6 out of 10 people spoke at the election. Well, that's not true. The official returns on the election is less than 30% of registered voters actually attended. So that was not even anywhere near 6 out of 10 people in Marine City. So oftentimes people throw out numbers and things like that. Of course, we deal with the results of the elections and we move on, but someone can't say 6 out of 10 people spoke because they didn't. Less than 30% of registered voters spoke, and it's disappointing. And of course, we move on, and that's what we do, and we just do it the best we can with what we have. But I couldn't let that go by without correcting that statistic. So.
Mayor Pro Tem? I didn't forget about you. I'm working my way to.
I'm sorry.
Commissioner Melly.
Okay. All right. I have a couple things. Well, first of all, I want to say Happy St. Patty's Day, and that's why we got the green cups today. But anyhow, I want to say I'm thankful to seeing the youth involvement. That makes a strong community, having the youth being involved in our community, because maybe they like to stay in our community and live and bring up their family. I wanted to say also, I'm really impressed about Gary, when you're about the beach, because that is a livelihood in our community. And there's rumors now, if we're trying to get lifeguards back on not the commission, but I thought, I didn't know if they were planning on a fundraiser and getting lifeguards, get more youth involvement. I didn't know if you can answer that or not, Gary.
Yeah, the concept is to put together enough money, which we will do. That's a given. We will do that.
Because you will have a lot of support.
Have the beach open throughout the season, have the restrooms open and monitored, and I mean, what city has a beach? And not to have it, when you have it is ridiculous. So you can't rely on the city to do everything.
No.
The city can't take care of everyone, but everybody can take care of someone. So let's just do it. Not
There you
worry
go.
about budgets or anything, just go get the money and make it happen. That's what we're doing.
Because I want to give you support and saying it will happen, and there's a lot of people that, for me personally, when we removed the lifeguards, that's a sore spot with me, and I definitely want to see the lifeguards back at the beach, and I would gladly contribute and help out whatever I can. That, to me, is very important to our city. I just want to say that, see, by you stepping out, that is the heart of Marine City, is the citizens. Not necessary for us to tax the people, but on PA 33 had nothing to do with the beach. And see, now that to me is a sore spot, whereas that was needed to be attended to. And I'm excited about that, and I do believe this summer we will have our lifeguards back. And I'm really expecting it, and I want to see Marine City grow. And there's a lot of things that are happening in our community, and I feel the excitement with the people, especially with the new businesses. Commissioner Simpson made a comment that every week there's a new business opening up in our town, and that's excitement. There's growth because businesses attract other businesses. And also, I want to see the youth, and the beach will definitely bring the youth to our community. That's very important. And I also want to wish everybody a happy and safe Easter. It's coming around. Enjoy your family. And there's an old Irish blessing. May he be gone 10 minutes before Satan knows you're gone. You know, I just wanted to laugh at that because J.B. McCarthy always used to say that on WJR. About Irish, you know, and this is St. Patty's Day. I just want to contribute St. Pat and have a lot of fun. And today, I guess, is the only day you can drink green beer and not get poisoned. So have a good day. Thank you.
It is not a lifeguard, it's a beach attendant. That you're talking about?
Well, it's not an agenda item, this is
It's not an
Commissioner
agenda item, but it can
privilege,
happen.
and if you want the lifeguards back and you want to work for that, that's great. I believe what they're trying to do is get attendance at the beach, which would be more just there to keep the place orderly and keep the restrooms clean.
Well, ideally both, an attendant and a lifeguard. Our goal is to raise enough money for both.
That's a good goal. And I wish you all luck, and I'll do what I can to support you in that. I'd like to, I'm a little late in this, but I'd like to extend my condolences to the Beatty family on the passing of Molly Beatty. I know she was much loved by her family, and she was a really good neighbor. So my heart goes out to you on the loss of Molly Beatty. Whenever you're on the other side of an issue, it's always that the commission doesn't listen and we don't hear and we don't pay attention and we do a bad job. I'd just like to point out that the City Hall problem started in 2005, so it's quite a while ago. So you might not be aware of everything that happened back then. There's a lot of things that should have happened that the city government failed in, and if it would have been done right, we'd still be in that building and we wouldn't have had to spend any money on it. But with that said, at the time, there was a huge public uprising, upswell of support to save that building. And it went on for a year, and 5 of the 7 commissioners sitting here ran on Save City Hall platforms, and we were elected and put in this position. And I'm sure, I'm not just speaking for myself, we felt we were doing the work of the people that put us into elected positions. So I take a little offense when someone says we don't listen to the people, because there's always 2 sides to every story, and if it's a contentious issue, there's always going to be one party that's going to feel like they're not being heard. And I guess that's just the way it works. Other than that, I think water's a critical thing, and I'm all for continuing to monitor it, even though our neighbors haven't. I'd just like to see a little better contract. And hopefully we'll get that sidewalk program in here. And I'd like to wish everybody that celebrates Easter a really happy and safe Easter. And with that said, the city's going to enter into a closed session for the confidential attorney-client communication regarding a legal opinion. You're going to be asked to leave. We're going to lock the doors. You'll be welcome back upon us coming out of closed session. There may or may not be any action taken when we get back from closed session. So right now I'm looking for a motion to enter closed session.
I move to enter into closed session at 7:49 PM.
You gotta state the purpose.
For the purpose of the consideration of a confidential attorney-client communication regarding the legal opinion.
All right. Wait, motion and support. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hendrick?
Yes.
Commissioner Lovett?
Yes.
Commissioner Melly?
Yes.
Commissioner Simpson?
Yes.
Commissioner Turner?
Yes.
Mayor Skatarczyk?
Yes.
Commissioner Avery?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Officially going into closed session. I'd like you all to leave, and you're welcome to come back when it's over.